Okay, once again, good afternoon and welcome. This is the webinar series conducted by the Social Ethics Society. So, in behalf of our president, who will be coming later, Father Dexter Beloso, and the chair of the board, we have here Dr. Ryan Mabolok and the other officers. We welcome you here for this webinar. To start properly, I ask Professor Menelito Mansueto to give his opening message. Sir Migs, maybe while waiting for Sir Migs to fix his microphone, we welcome here the Daniel Mishuri from Tel Aviv University. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you.
Sir Migs, can you continue with?
Very good to see you, Roger.
Hello, Doc Roger.
Yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Yes, sir. A blessed afternoon to everyone. I am deeply honored of being tasked to give this opening message for today's webinar. Of course, we are very much honored to have our very distinguished speakers for this afternoon. I would like to share my own personal exposure to philosophical movements in the southern part of the Philippines sometime in the late 1990s when I was a young seminarian of the Society of the Divine Word Missionary Congregation, also known worldwide and in the Philippines as the SVD Fathers, Brothers, and Confreres. One of the perks of being an SVD conferer at some point in my life was that at a very young age, I was able to personally mingle with some of the popular and giant names in Filipino philosophy. Aside from listening to their much valued lectures, we also got the chance to converse, sit down, and dine with, pray with, party with, study with, and live with personalities like Brother Romualdo Abulad, Father Leonardo Ischoco, and Father Leonardo Mercado. For instance, I experienced being tasked to transcribe and translate Father Mercado's interviews with key informants from his raw cassette tape records. Among those were from his pastoral and mission works with the Mangyans of Mindoro. The transcripts he later used for his anthropological and theological works and studies. When I left the seminary formation and have taught as a college instructor, I was invited to attend philosophical conferences hosted by the Favis Minda, the only professional philosophy organization at that time that is operating in both Visayas and Mindanao. That was also the time when I got the chance to hear from Dr. Romulo Bautista in May of 2008 when he gave a plenary lecture on his concept of bayanikrasya, a term which he anchored from the concepts of bayanihan and demokrasya. But unlike highly recognized authors, on one hand, for example, in the caliber of Father Dionisio Miranda and Dr. Rolando Gripaldo, who also had given their respective plenary lectures as keynote speakers in the Pavisminda, Dr. Bautista, or simply called Dr. Bao, and his lecture, on the other hand, was met with many clarificatory questions and criticism from the attending audience during the open forum. He struggled with much effort to introduce his concept since Dr. Bautista at that time was yet to be known as an outstanding Filipino thinker who came from the far-flung regions of Mindanao. Despite his training and his training and education, which he obtained in Spain. Based on my own assessment and judgment, I have felt the dismay that Dr. Bao had experienced after his presentation. Due to the misunderstandings of his proposed political and philosophical concept, which was anchored from the Filipino tradition. I would like, I am still here, I'm still, do you still have an audio, sir?
Yes, sir. Continue, sir.
I would like to personally claim that it was out from this unfortunate experience or occurrence in which Dr. Bao had conceived the idea and the necessity of organizing a philosophical society to be based primarily in Mindanao. I think he had already reached out and spoke to some Mindanao-based scholars who were in attendance the possibility of forming a Mindanao-based philosophy organization. 2 years later, in 2010, the Social Ethics Society was born, of which Dr. Bao had officially co-founded with a much younger colleague, Dr. Christopher Ryan Mabolo. Both thinkers are from the Ateneo de Davao University in Davao City. Interestingly, Dr. Mabolok had also completed his 2 master's degrees in Europe, although he chose to finish his doctoral studies at the University of San Carlos in Cebu City for reasons of being near to his immediate family. Dr. Mabolok was then conferred the Maxima Cum Laude Award, the highest recognition of a scholar, the first so far awarded by the university. With this eventual and dramatic beginning of the Social Ethics Society, the Mindanao-based philosophical organization needs to continually stand today against all forms of exclusion, discrimination, misrecognition, and underdevelopment, with Mindanao being the hotbed of various social turmoil in the country, often labeled in the past as the promised land of the Philippines or ang lupang pangako. With a unique set of culture and tradition, Mindanao has always been perceived as a land of conflict that existed for centuries among the local settlers and intruders, and among Christians and Muslims. To simply reduce the conflict as part of the generalized global-wide problem of capitalist imperialism and neocolonialism, or even as effects of the nationwide problem of corruption, oligarchy, and cronyism, is to undermine all other relevant aspects of the Mindanaoan social life world or social reality, such as their long-held socio-cultural beliefs, religion, cultural practices, and the unique traditions of the different indigenous peoples' communities. To truly address the root cause of the conflict, a demand for social recognition of their much valued cultural identities is very much important. The Marxist lens alone is simply not enough to provide an explanation of the long history of neglect and injustice which occurred in Mindanao, as it undermines the important role of culture and religion in these communities. Currently, one Mindanaoan contemporary social thinker in this direction is the works of Carlito Gaspar, a Redemptorist missionary brother who is commonly known in the name Carl Gaspar. Brother Carl, for instance, had given emphasis on the immersion method in dealing with the indigenous cultures, an approach which Brother Carl himself had used in his missionary work among the Lumad communities in Mindanao, particularly among the Manobo in Arakan Valley, North Cotabato. So, immersion is also the technique of foreign missionaries wherein they immerse to their mission communities and also understand and speak the language of their community. Unlike it's not like the what we usually do when we go to communities. We hand in uh, survey questionnaires and then we go back home and tabulate the results. Immersion is you really have to be with and live with the community. Our speakers this afternoon are equally eyewitnesses of the struggles of the Mindanaoan peoples. One is an eyewitness to the narco-politics of Misamis Occidental. Another is a first-hand informant during the siege in Marawi. Then we have a technologist who is worried about preserving the local cultures. We also have a philosopher from Israel who have mixed influences from both the East and the West and who happen to have wandered in the Apo Mountains in Digos, Davao del Sur when strong magnitude earthquakes hit Mindanao in the year 2019. Today, the Social Ethics Society, also known in the acronym SES, aims to gather and unite as Mindanaoans some highly competent scholars, young and old, from different walks of life and varying expertise from different academic background and specialization. The SES, which is primarily a philosophical organization, is not exclusive to the philosophical discipline alone, but across the whole spectrum of the humanities, social sciences, political, and development theory. Throughout the years, I have seen in philosophy being valued and used as an integral basis among various research paradigms in the different fields of academic specialization. As a matter of observation, some accepted and published research works in some high-end publications and journals are the ones that are anchored in philosophical knowledge and theories. More so, the integration of philosophy into the various academic disciplines could help in the reaching out of philosophy to the lived experiences of the peoples outside the four corners of the classroom or conference room. Philosophy is often diagnosed with a seemingly unsurmountable eccentricity in the ivory tower. There is a challenging call for social thinkers to come out from their eccentricity and instead to step out into the real world of poverty, exclusion, discrimination, and all forms of social, political, and historical injustice. I would like to welcome you all in this afternoon's webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Migs. Sir Ryan calls Sir Migs the rising star
Okay.
from Bohol in terms of philosophy. So, welcome. Thank you, Sir Migs.